Now in its 10th year, this is Gabnet. Talk like you've never heard it before.
Hey, yes, live from Harlem in New York City, it's me. I'm Alex, and this is the Ramble. I am so sorry, Lori Thompson. That's Lori Thompson.
Yeah.
I'm so sorry because we did two of these the other day. And they were wonderful, too. They were great. I'm going to try and recreate one of them here. But I forgot. I have a new audio board here. And every time I reboot the computer, I have to reboot the audio board. Otherwise, the computer doesn't recognize the audio board. And we got a beautiful picture of you talking. But none of what you were talking about.
A beautiful picture of my tonsils when I opened my mouth too wide.
So I ran another rerun of you, which is, of course, not a bad thing. So, you know.
But have you noticed I am so tired of appliances that have these idiosyncrasies? Like, you know, you get your new board, you have to turn it on, turn it off, turn it off, turn it off again. And like things, I don't like appliances that scream at me. It's like, especially the microwave. I mean, I put the food in, I set the timer, and then I go and do something that takes about as much time as the timer I just set. And no matter, it just screams.
May I argue against you?
Yes.
On this?
Yes.
I don't mind it because sometimes you do something for like 5 minutes. You know, that's a long period of time.
It is,
so you go elsewhere in the house and you're doing other things because you've got this thing cooking for 5 minutes. And then it goes off and you hear it and you go take care of it, you know. Yeah,
well, that's good. But see, like, to me, if I forget about it and then I open the microwave 20 minutes later, I am like, oh, look at this nice surprise, the heaping bowl of noodles that I can season however I want and put cheese on.
You know, I forgot to do two things today. Number one, I forgot to turn on my lights.
Oh, man.
Okay.
We're talking Calvin Klein model.
And then the problem is my background. Now, this is a phony background, folks. This is just a green screen back here. Okay.
So you couldn't really open the window.
But the trouble is that when I do this, you're outside, right?
I am.
Things are wonderful outside, right?
They feel pretty great.
The only problem is that I'm not outside at night during the daytime. I'm outside at night.
Okay,
so wait a minute. Boom. There we go.
He's a meteorological magic.
Yeah. Anyway, so now we're okay.
We're oak. But
no, you know what we were talking about the other day that I wanted to kind of try and recreate was we were talking about our lives kind of sexually.
Yeah.
You know,
our evolutions.
Yeah, and to some of us folks, mostly guys actually, all we ever think about is sex. You know, we wake up in the morning, we go out for a walk, and every woman that passes by, I do that, I wouldn't do that, I do that, I wouldn't do that. Do women do that, by the way?
We do, but I don't think to the extent that you guys, that the fellows do. Because we're more interested, I think overall, women are more interested in a variety of things happening at any one moment, whereas guys are a little more mono segment. I mean, you focus on fewer things. We're like the original multitaskers. We got so many things going on at once.
Yeah.
We can't think about boning you. You know, I know it's a big blow. Yeah.
So we have to remind you.
Right. Oh, and you do. You're always willing to remind. Turkey.
Well, you know, it's almost like if I meet a new woman, okay, I want to get the sex out of the way.
Oh, really?
Yeah, because once you get this, my argument was when you first meet somebody, you're not totally honest. You're playing a game of chess.
You're on your best person.
You're on your best person. You're kind of being seductive. You're asking questions about sex. You're setting the table, as it were. Okay. Now you go and you have sex. Okay.
Yeah. Right.
Now it's over with. You're both lying there on the pillow, looking up at the ceiling, and the first words coming out of your mouth after that are the most honest words you are saying for the first time with this other person, because you're not trying to get them in the sack.
Yeah, and no, I think that differs from individual to individual.
No, I think it's guys. Okay, now I don't know about women. I mean, with women, do you go, "Thank God that's over"?
It depends. It definitely varies from individual to individual.
It's probably the one time a woman says to herself, "Why did I do this?"
What was I thinking?
Yeah.
But see, I always had a lot of guy friends in more in college.
Yeah.
A lot of guy friends. But the stick is that a lot of the times, I think men interpret a woman's friendliness or warmth as she really digs me, when actually we're treating you like we treat, our neighbor lady, or the anybody. We are just friendly people, and so some of the guys would think that was my way of saying I wanted a more intimate relationship, when I didn't at all. But I really treasured their friendship.
Yeah, yeah.
Well, see,
I would always turn off the sex thing with anybody I was working with.
That's a good idea. Me too. Yeah.
I mean, that's not to say that at work you aren't going to meet the love of your life. Right. I mean, because you're working, but it's not necessarily a good place to do it, because you're doing it for you don't have a good perspective on it.
Plus, you're a different person at work than you are in your reality, in your real person.
Yeah.
That we all have work personas, and then we have, off work personas that are probably closer to our real being.
Yeah.
But, you just can't, that once again, though, I had a situation where I was great friends with this guy I worked with. And so we would pal around together all the time. And in my thinking, we were just really, really great friends. He thought it was more than that. And he started getting weird. Yeah. And so then, then you have to be, and then he started doing some things that were just very stalker. And I did mornings. So he would call me in the middle of the night. And even though I could just hear the machine go off back in the machine days, and it would be all these insulting, horrible lines that he'd edited together from movies and music and everything. So I had to appreciate his creativity, but it was just very insulting stuff. And the main thing is it woke me up, and I had mornings, and he knew that. So I had to go to I had him on tape, luckily. And so I had to go to the program director and say, I thought you'd like to know what your night man is doing in his off hours. And I just played the tape.
Yeah.
And I said, I hate to do this, but I think you might need to talk to him. I hate to.
Isn't that terrible when it's somebody you like, that you have a friendship relationship with, and all of a sudden the nature of it changes like that?
Yeah.
And what you've done, you mourn it because you've lost a good friend.
Exactly. Now, we were kind of able to patch it back together. He apologized profusely for all of it. And he had a lot of issues. He was brilliantly talented. A lot of issues. And so that's what...
I'll tell you, I found that I made good friends with women after we got sex out of the way. And then I realized that wasn't going to be the nature of our relationship.
Okay.
Yeah. that yeah, the sex was fine and everything, but it wasn't going to be the nature of our relationship. It wasn't going to define our relationship. And we became really good, close friends and remained that way forever.
Yeah,
You
well,
know?
that wouldn't have worked for me, because to me, you when it goes into sex, I don't. I get a little uptight after I've had sex with a person, because
You
then
get
kind of
uptight?
I get, yeah, because then I always think, okay, what if I'm not in the mood? And you start to respond to their cues. I'm always tempted, because I'm a people pleaser, to respond to the cues if they wanted to have sex again. And what if I didn't? What if I wanted to keep it that friendship?
Yeah.
I would then feel like, oh, okay, well, I don't know what I'm going to do. And it messed things up for me.
Yeah.
I wouldn't sleep with someone until I knew they were probably going to be at least a dating relationship.
Well, when you finally have sex with somebody, they've gone from being a friend, because hopefully you're going to be friends when you meet. You enjoy being with each other. So now you
Right.
find yourself in the sack and you have sex. Once you have sex, that relationship is no longer a friendship.
No.
It's an involvement.
And involvements are just more involved. And
I mean, now you were brought up a religious kid.
oh, yeah.
So
I mean,
I'm sure every now and then you worry about whether you're going to hell or not.
not over that.
No, not over that.
A lot of different things.
Well, no, I always felt, I wasn't a religious person, but I felt if there was a God, he invented this little pleasure,
Right. Exactly.
And it wasn't, what I loved, the pill came out and changed the whole nature of the rules of the game,
Yes, which I think that was fundamental. Yeah,
where
'cause-
women could go, hit the sack and just test out the wares.
yeah. Out of pure curiosity and enthusiasm and enjoyment.
And before the pill, you had to be very careful, because the result, if it went wrong, was pregnancy.
Yeah.
And you didn't want to have to deal with that. And that's why women are more protective of themselves. Why guys are going, come on, let's go to bed, let's go to bed, let's go to bed. And women are going,
It's like, we have 15 minutes. That's the guys.
Yeah,
We have
is he?
15
If I
minutes.
get pregnant, is he the guy I want to have to deal with for the rest of my life because we have this common thing?
Yeah. Do I want to create another individual with this man?
Yeah.
And the answer was usually, I don't know.
Well, the reason I've never had any kids is not because I couldn't. I know I could, because I've gotten several women pregnant, and they just had miscarriages. We didn't do the abortion route.
The sperminator.
They had miscarriages, so I know that I could get a woman pregnant. But I got a woman pregnant when I was 19.
Yeah,
It was the
that's
first
heavy.
woman I ever had sex with. Okay.
Whoa!
God, will that put you off?
Well, and what kept you coming back to the trough?
Yeah,
I mean,
yeah, that will really put you off. And so after that, I was very careful about any woman I had sex with. Every woman I ever had sex with, I would ask them, are you using any kind of protection?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. And if they weren't, I did.
Yeah.
But I mean, I always asked, because I didn't want to have a child by anybody I didn't want to have a child by, or that I didn't trust would be a good mother.
Yeah. See, and that always went through my mind. Because I knew I wasn't going to have children, but I don't even like the likes of conception with someone I don't admire and appreciate.
Well, also, if you have a kid, even if this person is a one-night stand, you're forever linked to this person for at least 18 years of that child's life.
Yeah, that's why I didn't have one night stand, because of that very reality.
Yeah, and even beyond that, I mean, he's still always that child's dad.
Yes. And so there are just way too many variables I wasn't willing to deal with to be promiscuous.
Yeah.
And so, and I was blessed enough, or my ilk was blessed enough, that when I got to San Francisco, AIDS was happening. So all the guys wore condoms. You didn't even have to make it an issue.
Well, the
I
trouble,
want
the
birth
trouble with
control.
San Francisco, I mean, I always felt and knew that it was basically a gay problem. It was not a heterosexual problem. I always argued the reason was the nature of the kind of sex you have. Where
Exactly.
with anal sex, there is a breaking of blood vessels.
Yep.
Sperm is a blood product. So therefore, they can commingle and you get AIDS.
Yeah.
Well, fortunately, I don't like having anal sex
Not my cup of tea.
because I guess the main term I use when having anal sex, or if I had anal sex, I've never had it, is ow.
Yeah.
I mean,
Ow.
so because I was doing vaginal sex in which there was no exchange of blood product.
Right.
The chances of me getting AIDS was the thing that I argued with the gay community was they were going around going, well, you can get AIDS just like we can get AIDS. Not really. I don't buy that. Okay, I understand why you're saying it because you want to scare heterosexuals into helping you out, and I understand that. But don't tell lies because lies are what got us here in the first place. I mean, the gays in San Francisco had, and I hate to say this, nobody to blame but themselves, because here's what happened. You had a head of the, what's the...
Glad?
a doctor who was in charge of, his name was Silverman, I think. And he was the head of the health department. And he came out and said, this age is probably coming from those bathhouses.
And they were still in operation when I got to San Francisco.
There were tons of them, and there were guys who would come out and say, well, I had sex with 10 guys today.
And that was common.
And by the way, you take a bunch of women, and you have them have sex anytime they want to.
Yeah.
And they're very picky about it.
Yeah.
When you get guys having sex with guys, well, forget it. It's a free-for-all.
Yeah.
But anyway, what happened was you had these newspapers in San Francisco, these gay newspapers. And who were the main advertisers to the gay newspapers? These bathhouses. And they kept attacking Silverman for what he was saying. They tried to get him out of... I think they finally pushed him out of office.
Yeah, there was a lot of gay...
Yeah, and he said, the first thing we got to do is close down those bathhouses.
And he was correct.
He was absolutely correct.
But
So in a lot of ways, the gays created the problem. I mean, once the problem hit, rather than solve it, they were in a state of denial.
Well, I think once you have a community, the gay community in this case, that's been persecuted for so long, they have an antenna, kind of like a woo, when something seems to hint at gay prejudice or bias.
Yeah. So
close to the bathhouse.
Yeah. So I mean, it was a thorny situation, and one in which I felt the gay community was not helping the situation. Rather than admit they had a real problem there.
Yeah, there was so much misinformation, and the thing that was most powerful about what a threat it was to me as a heterosexual.
Well, and we went through this, by the way, folks, because AIDS hit San Francisco while we were working there.
Exactly. Yeah, because when I moved to San Francisco, I had to store my furniture for a month. And so our engineer, who happened to be gay, a bear, hooked me up with two friends of his. And unbeknownst to me, they were a couple. But they helped me move. We took their pickup truck and made like 4 trips out to near SFO to get this furniture. Mm-hmm. And then so I got to know them, and we had such a fun day. We just laughed and had a blast of a day, and really felt a kinship or a friendship with each other. Yeah. And then but we weren't. We didn't stay in each other's lives. We just had a real good time that one day. So then I asked the engineer Oh, and I remember what they said. I said, "What are you guys doing for the rest of the day?" So we're going to the baths. We've got some really good weed,
And we're
and
going to the baths.
the baths. And they were going to stay there for the rest of the day. So this is 4 o'clock. And so less than a year later, more like 8 or 9 months later, I asked the engineer who had set me up with these guys, how is, I think his name was David. And he said, "You haven't heard?" No. And I said, "No." And he said, "He died of AIDS a month ago." And it was just like, they just moved my furniture 8 months ago. How, what do you mean he died? And that's when I realized that AIDS was infiltrating our community and stealing our loved ones. And that was so
Well,
bad.
the stealing of loved ones was horrible enough for you and I,
Yeah.
who were not involved in that kind of behavior.
This is true.
I wouldn't even know if I had to go to the baths where they were exactly.
Yeah.
But we did have friends who got AIDS and died.
Yeah.
Jim Samuels, remember the comedian Jim Samuels?
I do. Yeah.
Gay, in the closet because he was doing comedy and he didn't know whether he should come out or not.
It could
in
be
fact, he won the comedy competition one year.
Did he?
Yeah, and a nice guy, really nice guy. He died of AIDS. There were quite a few other people we knew that died of AIDS. And what you did is, as somebody who really wasn't in that core group, is when somebody died of AIDS, you lost a friend or you lost somebody you knew.
Yeah.
And they were going like crazy. They were going it was going so bad in San Francisco that I think the average person in San Francisco knew at least one person who had AIDS or was dying.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. And I think the Sentinel or the Bar, one of the newspapers, published obituaries. And at the beginning, of people who died of AIDS.
Yeah.
And at the beginning, there were three a week. And it came to the point where they just couldn't, they would list them all, but they couldn't even print all the obituaries.
Isn't it amazing that today people don't die of AIDS?
Right. I mean,
all we had to do was find the cure for it, or at least not the cure. You take the medicine, and it just simply stops you from getting the negative.
Stops you from dying.
He stops you from dying. We had a good friend who got AIDS, Warren Thomas. Guy was on our show.
I remember when he fell sick, and he was at San Francisco General because a lot of the comedians did that.
He had phlebitis, which is a blood thing, and he needed a blood transfusion. And that was at the time that they weren't testing the blood for AIDS because they didn't know about it. And he came down with AIDS.
Right. I remember Christy, the producer at the time, and we would take him pizzas. And there was this great burger place not far from General, and taking those things. And he was such a virile guy.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, yeah, he was. And
he was very sexual, but it had nothing to do with sex. Nothing to do with sex.
Pardon?
Huh?
I think that he might have mingled in both camps.
I don't think so.
I don't think regularly, but I think he may. I mean, you just don't know what people do. But anyway, that was not his persona.
And then the cocktail came out just in time, and he started taking it. He went from 1 T cell to like 100. And he was on his way to getting better. And he got better and better and better. He moved to New York. I got to know him here. All of a sudden, he kind of disappeared. And I hadn't heard from him a while. And one day they went up to his apartment here in New York, and he was dead. Now, we don't know what, I never was able to find out what he died of. But it wasn't AIDS, I don't think.
Yeah, it was, I know a lot of people, would succumb to suicide because they felt they already were on suicide watch. With
well,
AIDS.
this wasn't a suicide. This wasn't a suicide.
No. Oh, no, I wasn't implying that about Warren.
Yeah.
But, I mean, in fact, they call it a cocktail divorce. When two people are together, and because one has AIDS, you think you're going to be together, for life. And then all of a sudden, the person with AIDS takes the cocktail. All of a sudden, they're not a couple anymore. It's called a cocktail divorce.
I never heard of that.
Yeah.
I never heard of that.
I think Armistead Maupin. Yeah, I got it off him.
That's amazing. Well, I think we did this one with audio okay.
All right.
Yeah. Yeah, the little meter's going and everything. You know, I'm making sure it's working. And why don't we get together again next week, okay?
Superb.
Ladies and gentlemen, that's the well-known, well-loved Lori Thompson. Bye, Lori.
Bye.
Now in its 10th year, this is GabNet. Talk like you've never heard it before.
And that's Lori Thompson, yes. Hey, listen, we got some problems tonight. And if you're trying to listen to us just audio only off our audio feed, it's not working tonight. For some reason, it is on and off again. And I've been checking it and trying to get it to work. And I'm getting it to work. It's just said to me error again. See? Okay. So there's some problem with them because it's happening on a lot of my machines here. So, what's interesting is we do this live thing that goes out over the audio. Goes out as an audio program. I can't even think straight anymore. As an audio program, and it goes out over where do you go for that? I forget now. Well, anyway, you go online to it, and there's a link to it, I think, on our page here, and so on. Anyway, the point I'm trying to make here is if you're trying to get us using the audio-only format, you're not going to be able to get us tonight, okay? Or we're having trouble with it. And in fact, let me just turn this thing off so that I don't have to worry about it. So, anyway, that's what that is all about. I'm sorry that you may, if you like to listen to the audio only, just come over and watch the video. I don't know why we do the audio thing anymore. Actually, to be very honest with you, but we do it, and it doesn't exactly like to work at this time. There's a problem with it. Oh boy, I'm kind of flaky today. You know what it is? I went out. I did my PT today, my physical therapy, and I kind of enjoy it. It's a pain in the ass, but I enjoy it because I feel better afterwards. But sometimes I feel really loopy afterwards. So excuse me if I don't. I'm not able to make a coherent. What do they call them? Oh, a sentence. Yeah. Okay. Anyway. We got a lot of people here waiting to come on, so let's do it, right? Okay. Here they come. Bring up our Zoom panel. And let's see here. There they go. There's Alan and who's over in the corner here? Kevin, Stopper's phone. Oh, I see. Yeah, Kevin's doing his what do you drive? You drive for Uber?
Both DoorDash and Uber, but I'm on my way home now. I'll be home in a second.
DoorDash and Uber. So if you live in his area, just order some food and get to meet him personally. Very good at Christmas time. He can come out to your house, make a delivery of Chinese food or whatever he's delivering, and he can play Santa for the kids. Right?
There you go.
Right?
For an extra $150.
For an extra $150. Right, exactly. Hello to Alan. How are you, Alan?
I'm doing good, Alex. How you doing? No falls or anything since I saw you last?
No falls since you saw me last. And today
Good.
I went to my PT, and when I went, I brought the cane, but I didn't use it, which I felt pretty good about. So,
Good.
But that was going to PT. Coming back, I mean, I get so weak from all of that.
You were a little sore.
Yeah. Anyway, I keep getting this error sign from. Let me see if there's any audio going on out there. It's trying to. Oh yes, now we're on the air. Now we're working. See, There's something good. You know what happens? What's great about it, I use a thing called Vozcast, and I've been using them for, God, maybe 10 years or something, however long we've been doing this, all right?
Mm-hmm.
When the first thing I did was actually send out audio. And I've been using them, and they've never gone down on me. Kind of like women I've known, never gone down on me. And tonight they did, and so I'll give them that. But but it seems to be working now. So we'll try and suffer here.
Heard
Hello.
you had California visitors.
Yes, I did. Yes, I did. Phil Meyer came over on Monday to hang out here, and Marjorie had to admit, I got to tell you, if you don't talk to him about politics, he's a really nice guy.
Absolutely.
I don't understand how
we get along great.
I don't understand how a guy can be that nice and have those politics. That I don't understand.
I don't get
Nice
it
does not equate the kind of evil qualities that Donald Trump possesses. But anyway. Hey, look who's here. Tom Yamaguchi. Hi, Tom.
Hello. Oh, I'm not even muted. Great.
You're not even muted. You're fine. And then, of course, there is the fabulous Charlie Wallace, who is here. What does your shirt say?
It's all fun and games until someone loses an eye.
Oh, I see. I've
Yeah,
seen that one before.
Yeah,
but,
he's worn that one before.
yeah. But, well, I don't know that kind of thing. I don't know. What
You don't know imaginary numbers.
I don't know imaginary numbers. Hey, Charlie, you're the rocket scientist. Are those numbers really practical?
Yes, the math doesn't work out without them.
I mean, 1 + 1 seems solid to me. 2 - 1 seems solid to me. But squiggly mark -4 = 2. I just don't, I don't get it. Anyway. And, of course, the lovely and attractive Josh Wheeler is with us, as he is every other week on a Wednesday, because he's not working tonight, right?
That's correct.
That's correct. And you're not working tomorrow night either, right?
No.
No.
Right.
But
No,
you're
no.
working on Friday.
I am.
Yeah. So anyway, listen, every 4 years when we do our little stupid election thing, our imaginary election, we are foisted upon us as a thing they call the October surprise. Is what happened today the October surprise?
Probably not.
You don't think so?
The war
Yeah.
against Iran is the October surprise. By the time election day gets here, we're going to be in a full-out war with Iran.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. And who benefits from that? Which candidate?
Trump.
You think?
Whoever's in power loses.
Unfortunately.
You think so?
Yep.
I don't consider him a friend of Israel's.
Well, he's not, but
Yeah.
like I said, he's not in power now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But the October surprise, I thought, happened today with this revelation by by what's his name, by Smith, of all the things he is asking of the Supreme Court. It was like
I hadn't heard that.
Oh, you haven't heard it?
No.
Oh my God!
Oh, right.
Somebody want to tell him what it's about? You've been paying attention to it, haven't you, Josh?
Well, I haven't read it. I've heard, that the brief that he submitted to the judge was made public today by the judge. There's a lot of accusations from the Trump people saying, the Biden and Harris administration had it put out to sabotage the election and all that, which they didn't. It was turned in by the special counsel like a week ago, and the judge reviewed it and decided that it should be public record. So he or she, I don't remember the judge, is the one who released it.
She.
But I didn't. I haven't read it yet because I haven't had time.
Yeah.
But I heard that it's the same basic timeline and just includes more details. such as evidence, quotes, and emails, texts, things like that, show his utter disregard for the consequences of what he was doing and that he was aware of it, and things like warnings. When he was warned about Mike Pence being in danger, he said things like "so what," and quotes like that.
Yeah, and it also dealt with him actually conspiring to try and throw the election, and discussions between he and Pence and his legal team and all these people who have, I guess, kind of ratted on him and said that, because they didn't want to be accused of being part of the conspiracy.
Right.
It really, it nailed him. It just nailed him today.
Well, I don't know, Alex. So it's the October surprise, but then there was the September surprise, the August surprise, the July surprise, the June surprise.
Well, what I said was, you heard me when I let
his fans still stick with him.
Yeah.
Yeah, but that's 35% of the vote.
Yeah.
Okay. So the fact is, what happens to those people who've been sticking by him staunchly, who are not part of that 35%, and every now and then scratch their heads and go, what the hell did he just say? Those people, and it isn't really a matter of that those people aren't going to vote for Trump. It's a matter that those people just aren't going to vote.
Possible.
Huh?
That's possible, yeah.
I mean, do you agree with that, Josh? That there's a good chance that that's what happens to Trump. It's not that he, that she gains votes, but that he loses some because people just don't get out and vote.
Yeah, that's very possible. I don't know if it'll be that way, but we talked in the past that a vote not for Trump in any form is good for Harris. So yeah, we'll see. I mean, I know what Tom is saying, though. I mean, and I agree. It doesn't change. I mean, there could have been a video released today of him saying, we need to steal the election and blah blah." I mean, just flat out.
There's audio.
Couldn't change their minds or whatever. So but I do think that independent-minded people, will see that as wrong, and I think that when you combine it with the Harris Walz campaign idea that we're not going back to that chaos, that'll continue to chip away.
Yeah.
For another month.
Yeah. So I mean, it was not a good thing for the Trump people. Of course, he's calling them all liars, and his latest thing is, if he doesn't like you, he calls you stupid.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, that's.
Well, when you're the smartest person in the world, what do you expect?
Everybody else is stupid.
That's right. He considers himself the smartest person in the world.
Or mentally impaired.
Yeah.
Mentally impaired.
Well said, Tom.
Yeah, but it is kind of interesting, you have to admit, the whole notion of what's been happening here,
Yeah.
It's
Yeah, he's making stuff up at this point. They're all making stuff up.
Yep.
I mean, they tried not to leave power. I mean, it's blatantly obvious. So Vance can go on TV last night and say, we're focused on the future, and we did peacefully transfer power on January 20th. No, actually you didn't. I mean, just because I arrived at my destination safely doesn't mean I couldn't have done a lot of damage on the way there if I ran into every part. I mean, that's like saying, well, I got here safely. Let's not talk about the journey. That's crap.
Well, what he was trying to say was, when election day, when inauguration day came, we had the inauguration.
Yeah, we handed over power peacefully. Omit the fact that the Capitol was surrounded in a circle of, stormtroopers.
Oh, and that the process of this country counting up votes was impaired.
Yeah.
I mean, that certainly is a major thing. Speaking of last night, how did you feel about that debate?
Good. Good. I wish more of the presidential debates would be like that. They weren't yelling at each other. I mean, Vance was telling lies and stuff one after the other, but they were cordial with each other and everything. Boy, Trump should learn from this guy on how to debate.
Well, no, I don't know that that's the way to debate. After all, this isn't a debate for all the marbles, you know. I saw really great story about a woman who had two sons. She sent one off to sea and one off to be vice president of the United States. All she's heard from is the guy who went to sea, you know, and the other one has never been heard from since. The vice presidency is a thankless job in most cases. In Kamala's,
But I love how Trump and Vance constantly are saying, "You opened the border, you did this, you did that," and she's just the vice president.
yeah,
She doesn't
I'm tired.
She doesn't make those decisions.
Why
The
doesn't
president
why
does.
doesn't somebody shut some of these people up when they talk about the Harris administration? Wait a minute, I got news for you. She was vice president. She didn't really have any say-so in anything.
That's right.
He made all the decisions. He signed the executive orders. She couldn't sign executive orders. So to blame her for anything that Biden did is ridiculous. But nobody wants to take people to task for that because they don't want to throw Biden by the wayside. So they just allow that myth to exist that it was the Harris administration, you know. And I'm sorry, it wasn't. She had no control over anything.
Yep.
I mean, and that's the job of the vice president. You're really standing by in case he drops dead. You know, that's basically what it is. I, you know, but it's a thankless job in most cases. And you know, if she wins and Walz becomes vice president, and then she runs again and wins again, and he serves vice president for 2 terms, maybe he might think about running for president, but most times that doesn't work out, you know. And they'll forget, you know. And so the trivia question 10 years from now will be who was the vice president under Harris, you know. So I mean, it's just not it's a thankless job.
Yep. The only time it's handy is if he gets sick or incapacitated for some reason or dies in office.
Yeah, yeah, and that's when you know.
Or if there's a tie in the Senate.
Mm-hmm.
Yes,
Oh, yeah.
yeah. That's it. You know.
That's it.
Otherwise, you can go on vacation. You know. But what did you think of the debate last night, Josh? Did you watch it?
No, I had to work, so I didn't get to watch it. I've only seen, various highlights, and I listened to some of the reaction or commentary, if you will, on my way home this morning on my drive home from work.
Yeah.
So I heard a bit about it before I went to sleep. The action seemed fairly positive all the way around. My understanding is it was fairly calm, fairly cordial.
It was also really boring.
Policy, right? It was boring, and there are a lot of people that are not. I don't want to say they're upset. They're a little surprised or disappointed that Walz was not more offensive and calling out Vance, but at the same time, they're not too worried because why a lot of people can credit Vance for sounding great and talking slick and trying to sell their fascist agenda, but making it not sound like it's one. As a winning night for him. Polls so far have indicated that people who watched it just found Walz more favorable, more believable, and approved of him higher than they do Vance.
Well, I mean, but he was a guy who didn't look like he really wanted to debate anybody. He supposedly told the Harris people that he debating was not one of his long suits, and he was really kind of
Right.
afraid of the whole process.
Yeah.
You know,
He's debated for when he ran for governor. Not like this, but
it's on a smaller level. You
Yeah.
know, and
Yeah, I mean,
Yeah, you could tell he was sort of uncomfortable at the beginning, but he really did relax and warm up. And
yes,
actually, I didn't find it boring at all. I found it
I
really interesting.
I did. I agree with Tom.
Yeah, I think that Vance, one of the things that he was trying to do was make him look normal, make himself look normal, and also try to make Trump look normal, which he failed miserably.
Yep.
And it's interesting because what really tripped him up was all that work that he did to try to normalize himself just fell apart when he couldn't answer the question if, if Biden won the election. And because the famous damning non-answer.
Mm-hmm.
And so as a consequence, that's all the media talked about today was that one part of the debate, and everything else. So in a way, yes, Walsh definitely did win.
let me ask you this question: what the hell could he do? He's made a pact with the devil, right?
Mm.
And he's got to go along with it, you know.
Mhm.
And he, in his heart of hearts, he may be sitting there going, "Really, I don't want to say this, but this is what I got to do because I've been given my marching orders, and I'm a good soldier."
Mhm.
You know, I mean, I don't. You know something? I don't know whether I like the J.D. Vance who thought Trump was another Hitler, or whether I'm supposed to like this Vance. You know, I mean, I liked Vance back when he was that way because he was being honest. He was going against the flow, really. How he became a vice presidential nominee for Trump, I have no idea. Because, I mean, certainly he didn't, or so far as we know, didn't kiss up to Trump that much.
No, but the donors wanted him.
The donuts?
Donors.
Yeah.
Peter Thiel especially, who wanted him and demanded that Trump pick
Well,
him.
Peter Thiel is this Silicon Valley billionaire
Yeah.
who I guess handpicked him. What did he do? How did he hook up with
He's the
Thiel?
one that
Thiel.
bought the Senate seat for him in Ohio.
Yeah.
well, I believe he worked for him when he
Yeah.
was pretending not to be an elitist from San Francisco there for a couple of years.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
And it's amazing how the party that has decried East Coast liberals and Ivy League people and all that now features two candidates that went to the Wharton School of Business and Harvard.
Yeah.
I
While
like
the other, has people who went to public school.
I like Vance's answer to the same way Trump answered it, a little more gentle on healthcare. What Trump has got planned for it, getting rid of the Affordable Care Act. Boy, did he screw that up. You know, we came in, and when Trump was in office, we were working on making the Affordable Care Act better. And no. John McCain came in, raised his hand,
And went, yeah.
almost on his deathbed, and stopped Trump from all this crap.
Yep. You know.
You know. Thank you, John McCain.
Thank you. Yeah. No, I mean, John McCain, in the end, was a hero.
Yep.
You know?
Yep.
Well, he was a hero, too, even though Trump didn't think so during Vietnam. So,
Yeah.
Well, you know, I mean, sometimes I wonder who heroes are exactly. I don't necessarily buy war heroes, and I'll tell you why. There was a war hero during World War II named Audie Murphy. He was the most decorated man in World War II. And all he had to do was kill people.
Yep.
And I don't know if we honor that in that way. You know, hey, you went out and killed more people than other people.
Well, he killed them to save lives of his fellow soldiers, though.
Actually,
Right.
at one time, Audie Murphy said, to be very honest with you, the reason why I had all these, got all these awards and everything, and I was the most decorated person in World War II, was because I was a blatant coward and I didn't want to get killed, and I just kept shooting at people.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, he even admitted to it, saying, "Don't look at me as a hero," you know.
John McCain was shot out of the sky
Uh-huh.
trying to do his job. He was captured. He was tortured. Even to the day that he died, he could never lift one of his two arms all the way up
Above his shoulder, yeah.
from the damage they did. He continued to serve the public all through his life.
Yeah, no, I mean, I think that in the end, I mean, I didn't know what to think of John McCain, to tell you the truth. Okay. But in the end, I think he proved to be. I think the day I figured he was a pretty good guy was the day that he was running for president, and this woman came up to him about Obama.
No, it was actually at a rally.
Yeah,
and it was on video. This woman, says, I can't vote for. I don't like Obama because he's an Arab.
Yeah,
Or, no, I don't think.
Said, no, he's a good man. He's a good man. We disagree on politics, but he's a good man.
Yeah. And that I don't know if that was exactly what she said to him, but he did defend Obama, and he did say, hey, we disagree with each other politically, but I don't disagree with him as another person. And I think he's a good guy.
Yeah.
He's a good guy, and he's a good family man. I think that was brought up.
Yeah, I think so.
And at that point, I said, guy's okay. I won't vote for him, but the guy's okay.
I actually did vote for him in, was it 2000?
Mm-hmm.
When the first time he was running for president. I didn't like George W. Bush, and so I registered Republican to vote for John McCain. Because one thing, McCain, one of the few Republicans that actually accepted climate science.
Yeah.
So I supported him then.
Yeah. Yeah, but I mean, he in the end turned out to me to be a really stand-up guy, And as I say, I could conceive of myself if I had a Democrat who sucked. I could conceive of myself voting for John McCain, and not feeling particularly guilty about it. Yeah. Which reminds me, I got my mail-in ballots.
Oh boy. I should be getting mine next week.
Yeah,
Me too.
Yeah.
California early next week.
I think in California they mail them out this week and we get them next week, right, Tom?
So, but I think it's early next week that we'll get them. They'll mail
I heard
them
something like that.
Yeah. Well, we got.
I guess it depends on the county you're in.
Got mine today.
In the same county.
Yeah.
I don't know how I'm going to do about voting for Senate, because I do not like Gillibrand. I absolutely vomit thinking about her. I mean, what she did to Al Franken was horrible. It was just horrible. It was a case of eating your own, and I just felt it was terrible. I mean, I felt it was terrible that he quit. He should have stuck. He should have held on to his.
He definitely should have.
Yeah, and I think he has even admitted that he may have made a mistake by doing that.
Mm-hmm.
But he was, he was a good senator. He became a really good left-wing voice of left-wing politics, and but what she did to him I found abhorrent. And so how can I vote for her? I can't bring myself to. So I don't know what I do. Who else is running?
Yeah, well, they usually have others, but it doesn't sound like she's really threatened with any really serious opposition. Is that true?
Yeah, I don't think so. I don't know who she's running against.
Yeah, we see. So,
but I don't know who to vote for.
She's probably in a safe seat, because otherwise I'd be getting tons of emails like I'm getting for John Tester and Sharon Brown and Jackie Rosen, and You
I mean,
know,
I've seen some ads on it on TV for her, but I think they're basically aimed at talking to people who live upstate and so on. Because they all kind of, I guess they'll vote for her down here, but I don't know who to vote for, and I don't know who's there. But I always found in the old days, when I went and I voted and I didn't like the person who was the Democrat, I would then vote for what I called the second best liberal, the communist.
okay.
But I don't think the communists are on the ballot anymore, so, you know.
It could be.
Could be. Yes. They'll come back to bite me in the ass. Did you vote communist back in blah, blah, blah? Well, yeah.
We know Robert or RFK Jr. is going to be on our ballot for president. He did get removed the California ballot. Guess what party he's running in?
Wasn't it the Progressive Party or something?
No, he's running called the American Independent Party.
Oh, really? Maybe the
party that was started by George Wallace.
That's right. I heard
Right.
that.
You're right.
Yes.
Yeah.
His father must be rolling over in his grave.
I thought it was
right
maybe
now.
the very
That
very
he's
silly
running.
party, you know.
Yeah, I know. I mean, racist party,
Well, listen, his father worked for who do you call it? Eugene McCarthy. So, I don't know how he could argue to him not to go on that.
Well, but when he became Attorney General, he was pretty much at odds with George Wallace.
He may have been at odds with George Wallace, but he still
Yeah.
worked with McCarthy. I never liked Robert Kennedy. I figured Robert Kennedy was the biggest phony ass ever.
Okay, well, I was a Gene McCarthy.
Well, I was for Eugene McCarthy too.
I was too young. I was too young to vote, even though I was 18 in '68.
Yeah, I was for.
When I turned 21 is when they lowered the voting age to 18.
You're 18, yeah, same thing here.
Yeah, because we were born the same year, 1950.
Was that the same year they lowered the age of consent to 14?
No.
Oh boy, I mean but so I don't know what to do. I mean, I don't know who else is on there. I haven't opened up the ballot yet, so I'll have to look at it and see who's. It doesn't matter who I'm voting for, as long as I don't vote for her. That's how I feel about it.
All right.
Yeah.
Leave it blank.
Huh?
Did you give a?
For that one.
You don't give a. You don't vote for that part.
I think you can leave it blank, can't you?
Yeah, that's good. Then.
Yeah. Wasn't there a time when you couldn't leave it blank? You had to,
No, you don't have to.
I don't know.
You can leave it blank.
You know what I always wanted in just elections is just one other little check mark that says none of the above.
We had
That's what leaving it blank is. Yeah.
We had a ballot proposition. I actually signed to help get it on the ballot of putting none of the above as an option on the ballot. Unfortunately, it failed.
Why would you think it would fail?
I don't know, but I think it's a great option. None of the above. I mean, of course, actually, an even better option is having ranked choice voting.
Yeah.
So,
But
that's what I support is ranked choice voting.
But wait a minute, when they put people on the ballot there, did they when they put that? Did they put it on the ballot? I mean, did people actually vote for that?
Yeah, we had a proposition that would. It had our elections that included that as an option, but the ballot.
The only problem was that none of the above won.
No, the no votes definitely won.
The no votes won. Wow.
The no votes definitely won.
I just always wanted to have that option, to be able to say, hey, I don't like any of these guys. And quite frankly, if neither of the guys got like 50% or something, then it should be another runoff or whatever,
Mm-hmm.
So anyway, how do you think it's all looking, Josh? I mean, do you think our what's her name? Oh boy, Kamala has a good shot at it now.
I think so. I mean, it's still moving their way slowly.
Yeah.
I don't, foresee any positive press or things to develop for Trump that would sway independent people. I mean, that's the advantage that I see that she has is she is new enough and unwell known enough that she can continually say or do things that might actually change people's minds. But I don't really see what Trump could do in that department. He's been around for so long, and despite the fact that he likes to act like he's the outsider, he's been to Washington already, and he has a record, that he's proud of, which is fine, but he still has his record, and not everybody is proud of it. And he has his record of making trouble and creating drama every day, and people know that. And, so his unfavorabilities are really high, and I just don't see where he has an opportunity to drive those down. The same thing with Vance, but Harris and Walz are already leading in those areas, which is very positive for them. But I also see where, as we get closer to the election and more people listen to them or hear about them, that they have the opportunity for that. So when polls are close and candidates need a little bit to break their way, I just see her as set up in a much better position to see that happen than Trump would be. I just don't know whose minds Trump is changing as we sit here in October of 2024. I mean, if you're for Trump, you're for Trump. You've been for Trump since 2016. The whole thing. I just don't know who didn't vote for him the first two times, for example, that's sitting here now, October the 2nd, 2024, and he can say something tomorrow, and those people will be like, "No, okay, I'm going to vote for Trump now." I mean, I'm sure, this is a country of 300 million people. I'm sure there's a person somewhere, right? But he doesn't need a person somewhere. He needs a couple million. He needs a couple percent in a couple of states, because that's the other thing that we've talked about before. He lost the last election. Harris doesn't have to do anything new or different. She just has to repeat what Joe Biden did. If everybody votes the same way they voted the last time, he loses the election, And so I don't really know how many of the Biden people leave her camp, especially now. Just my opinion, but I don't. That's me trying to talk with like sense, but the emotional me is fucking worried sick.
Yeah.
I mean, that's like the academic. I thought it out of my mind, me, but like the real me,
well, what we've got here
is prepared to become incredibly drunken so that I don't have to fucking listen to his shit that day.
I don't think I have a question in my mind that he isn't going to win. She isn't going to win the popular vote. That I think is a foregone conclusion at this point. Yeah. But I don't understand. It's just the it's the Electoral College. It's the
Well, I'm worried about it. Sure.
Yeah. I think if he doesn't win, there's going to be rioting in the streets, and if he wins, there'll be rioting in the streets.
I don't know. I just here's what I don't understand, and I say it before, and I'll say it again. We had Phil over here the other day. Phil Meyer came to New York. I haven't seen Phil in 30 years, maybe. I mean, person to person.
He claims 1989.
He claims 1989? Oh,
yeah,
okay.
So it's 35 years, yeah.
Yeah. And I got to tell you, nice guy. Really, am I right, Alan? You know him
absolutely
as well as
He's
I do.
Really good. Where he gets his politics, I don't know, but
that's the point. I just don't understand. So I told Marjorie, Marjorie knows his reputation, right? I'm determined when he comes over, I'm not even going to bring up politics. I don't even want to talk about it. Okay? So he comes over. Marjorie's out at the doctor's or something, and she finally comes and shows up. And she sits down and she says hello to Phil and says hello to Phil's girlfriend, who's a very nice lady, by the way. and Marjorie, the first thing she says, "You still voting for Trump?" And I went, "Oh, God. You know, I don't."
Hope is the write-up.
Yeah.
The trouble is, both of them are.
Really?
Well, she's a Republican also. She does her own podcast, daily podcast from the area where she lives in, and on Republican politics. Oh yeah.
Oh, nice.
Really? Well, I don't mind her being a Republican. It's being for Donald Trump that's the problem.
Yeah.
She's for Trump.
You know, I mean, I can.
Do you ever care if he grabs her by the pussy?
Yeah. And I said to Marjorie after it was all over, because I had told her what you had said on this program about him injecting his penis.
God, that hurts.
And I said, and she said, well, I was going to ask him about that. And I said, I'm glad you didn't.
Boy, he probably had the kit with him when he came to your house.
Probably. Yeah. But no, she's a nice lady. She really is. You know, Republicans can be nice people. It's just, I don't understand. See, I don't understand people I know who are intelligent, who are not stupid. And Phil isn't stupid, okay? Who can possibly be for Trump. I could see how they could have been for him back in 2016. But since all the other things have gone down in between then and now, how you could possibly, as an intelligent person, even support Donald Trump. I can see how you don't want to support, you know, Kamala. That I understand. So you don't vote for her, but you don't vote for him either. You just don't go to the polls, you know? I just don't understand. I don't understand what, in people I know who are intelligent, you know, whatever. So, Josh, you look like you kind of want to say something.
Yeah, I mean, I don't understand how they can support, you know, the whole stuff with basically not wanting to, you know, hand over power after the election. They'll just make excuses for it.
Yeah.
And they'll make excuses for him. And I mean, they are more in love with a man than they are with a country. And I can't accept it. It makes me sick. I think they're small people. And the men that I see out there that do it, that love a man that way rather than, you know, their own country and their own democracy, they're sad people. I mean, you make excuses for this. If you have ideas about how to deal with the country, that's fine. But if that's the only person you can find to express them, and then you worship them basically as a false god, I can't accept that.
Yeah.
I mean, it just bothers me, you know, that, like I said before, you know, I grew up in a home surrounded by religion and things like this.
Wait a minute.
And I'm watching TV.
Hold on a second. Bree, would you mute yourself until you want to talk? Because there's a lot of noise in the background there where you are.
You know, and I'm watching TV 2 days ago or whatever, and I see Trump walking around Georgia. But what bothers me about this is that, you know, the city of Asheville, North Carolina, and Boone, North Carolina have been ravaged and destroyed, and the whole area by flooding, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. And who is Trump walking around on the tarmac with? And who is the organization that brought Trump to Georgia? Samaritan's Purse, which is run by Franklin Graham. And there is Franklin Graham, the son of Billy Graham, walking around with Trump, worshiping his false god. And by the way, Franklin Graham is from Asheville, North Carolina. He is from Boone, North Carolina. He has left his own cities where he was born and raised to go down to Georgia. And I know that they are maybe trying to help there. That's fine. But what I'm saying is he has gone away from where he is from to go down there and worship his false god, his false prophet. And I don't believe in, you know, that stuff. I didn't take to it the way my family would have preferred that I did. But I know a lot about Billy Graham, and I can't believe that his father would approve of him walking around down there with the most immoral person to ever hold the office, regardless of the fact of whether or not they think he's going to get through to save unborn babies.
I'll explain. I'll explain it to you, Josh. Franklin Graham is a whore.
He is. I mean,
Okay.
he has
You
turned
know.
himself into a skeleton of a Christian. If you believe in that, I don't know what operates in his mind that makes him think that their Lord, their God would approve. That's what I'm saying. I've just had these differences with these people that I just don't. Franklin wants to go help people. That's fine. I would even give him money. I've given his
Well, actually,
organization
he
money,
came to New
but I
York.
can't.
He came to New York during COVID and set up a
Right.
tent out across the street from Mount Sinai to open up a secondary hospital. But nobody asked him to do it.
Yeah.
And finally he left after a while because nobody wanted to use his goddamn hospital.
Yeah. It just. That's what I'm saying. I do not understand these folks that I know, and they have to know in their mind, are going against their own principles and everything that they believe their entire life because they've been tricked by a false god.
I may be wrong
I mean,
about this.
I don't get it.
I may be wrong about this, but when he opened up that hospital across the street from over in the park from who do you call it? From Mount Sinai. I believe if you went to his hospital, you had to sign something saying you believe in Jesus Christ.
I mean, yeah, I don't know. I mean,
I
look,
seem to remember that.
I mean, a lot of their charity comes with,
a proviso.
a message, as they would call it, which in itself is fine. I mean, they will not refuse anyone. I mean, his organization has at times done some good work across the world, but I just, why does he want to align himself with that?
I repeat, he's a whore.
Yeah, I mean, these are the same people that I've had to sit for decades and listen to at dinner tables and churches who think that the Clintons were put here on the earth by the devil, to face off with the world on behalf of the devil. And I just don't. And now I look at Trump and the things that he's done, and I don't see how, if they were saying the same things about him as they were then, I could respect them,
Yeah.
because they would have a consistent worldview and a consistent belief system. But they were willing to give all of it up to get something that they wanted. And I miss the part in scripture where that is acceptable.
Yeah.
I mean, I never came across it. Maybe it's there and I missed it. And they left that out at the university that I attended. I mean, I was sick that day or something. I don't
Well,
know.
maybe it's in the Bibles that Trump is selling.
Yeah, I mean, that's what I'm saying. I just can't believe that they would.
Yeah.
I don't know. I can't believe that his father, who handed him that organization.
Okay, well, listen, it's time now to do a little pause in our program for a little levity for a little segment we like to call, What the Hell is Bree Eating? It's apparently something he has to chew a lot because he is chewing.
Octopus.
Huh?
Octopus.
What is it, Bree? Is it Malaysian mouse? What?
Yeah, it looked like a mouse.
Ray, it did look like a mouse, huh?
Yeah.
I'm having fish and chips today. Fish and chips.
Where are you? You're not in England.
No, this restaurant used to have open air, but now they put windows, and there's nothing to absorb the sound. So it's very loud in here. People play their iPads and their phones, and they don't have headsets like me. And there's no carpet, so it's just very loud. So I have to apologize for that.
Yeah. Oh, it's good. It's good. Getting back to Franklin Graham, I mean, and that kind of thing. Yeah, I can't see any religious people being for him. But yeah,
I don't understand it, but they overwhelmingly are.
haven't the Baptists come out for him?
Oh, I'm sure. Yeah, as far as I understand, yeah. I mean, they've kicked some people out of their organization and excommunicated them over saying what I just said, which was we need to get on with the business of, again, if you don't believe this stuff, I'm just, giving you their link. We need to get on with the business of saving souls and not supporting false prophets and false gods. And it's like, oh, nope, you don't fit in here anymore, which is never supposed to be the thing of the church. And you're out. I mean, they've replaced leadership who said things of that nature. I mean, it's very sad, in a lot of ways, if because I know a lot of those people, but it's also very troubling. I mean, this is the danger of combining a fanatical political movement with a religious, or a power organization. I mean, historically, this is what they try to do: is combine their efforts and mobilize.
Well, I mean, when's the last time Donald Trump went to church? Okay. Now, I don't mind him. I don't mind him using a guy like Franklin Graham, if Franklin Graham admits that, hey, this is not the most morally wonderful guy in the world, but he doesn't put him down for that.
No, they worship him.
I don't understand how the military backs. How can anybody in the military vote for him? He called our heroes in Arlington Cemetery losers.
Yeah.
That always got me too. But he's the commander in chief, so they have to honor him.
Well, he wasn't. He's not.
I think there's a lot of dissent in there.
Oh, I'm sure there's a lot of dissent in there. I can't see how, if you're in the military right now, you can find him a good idea.
Exactly.
Exactly. What, he's going to support you? I don't think so. He doesn't care about you. He doesn't. You know what he doesn't care about? Here's what he doesn't care about. Anybody who's involved in service.
Right.
Who gives of themselves to accomplish something for others. He doesn't know about that. He has no concept of that. It was never in his DNA. He certainly, all he knows is what he learned from Roy Cohn, and that's exactly what he's doing now. This is interesting. There's a documentary on what's his name, the head of the WWF, now the WWE.
Oh, McMahon?
McMahon, Vince McMahon. And there's a documentary on him. And it's all about him and the WWE or WWF or whatever you want to call it at various times. And the fact that he used Trump in the WWF. And somebody was saying that Trump learned everything he knows about politicking from being in the WWF. That all he's doing is acting exactly like a wrestler does. She's stupid, she's dumb, I don't like her, she's a moron. That kind of stuff is all pure WWF. It's all wrestling.
Yep.
And he learned it from wrestling.
It's a show.
Yeah.
Entertainment.
Mm-hmm. And I'm sorry, I don't consider the presidency an entertainment.
No. Most of us don't.
Most of us don't. I wish it were, because then it would be a happy time for everybody. But it's not. We lose Bree? Where'd he go? Apparently lunch didn't agree with him. I don't know, but So we're coming up. We've got about what, 33 days till the election. I think it was 33 as of midnight tonight. I think
something like that. Yeah.
Yeah.
Go to training next week.
Not long.
Will you go to training next week?
Yeah, they got to go. They got to train us, even though we've been doing this for the last 15 years, and they still got to train you every year.
He's one of the good guys. He goes down and mans a polling station.
Yeah.
Is polling lighter now that we have mail-in and things like that, or is it's still?
Yeah, it is. It's gotten lighter over the years, but people still like myself, like to go in and push the buttons and all that stuff. I like to go through the act of it.
Well, some
Free
people
food,
do.
right?
Some people do want to go in and do the traditional way of voting. You know, they
Yeah, I
feel
do.
they
Whether
feel
it's electronic or whatever, I don't go in there and ask for paper, and I want a pencil and or a black marker so it comes out on both sides and that sort of thing.
Yeah, yeah. Well, we get to use a pen here, I guess, at home with the, with the mail-in ballot.
Yep.
But the only problem is, I can either go to my polling place, which is a half a block that way, or I can mail in my ballot by going up to the post office, which is a half a block that way.
But at the polling place, it'll get in, and in the mail, you don't know if it'll get there.
You would be surprised at how many people argue with me on that one, saying, "Where are you taking it?" The whole bit.
Yeah.
Where does it go? How does it get picked up? How do I know it's getting there? Oh, it just goes on and on and on.
Well,
You
here,
probably know about that, Tom.
online and see if you're after about a week,
Yeah.
you look online and then show, yes, you're
Oh, I get a text when mine goes through.
Do you think?
Yeah,
Do you think
it's
we'll ever
counted.
get to the time? It's got to happen eventually, where we can vote by internet.
Yeah, it's going to be a while.
Yeah.
I mean,
it
well,
needs to be secure.
Well, they've got to have
Security.
all the security protocols in place before
That's
they
just-
do something like that.
And Trump's got to be dead.
Trump's gotta
And there's still
be
millions
dead.
of people that don't have computers or iPhones, so they wouldn't
Right.
be able to vote.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. Oh,
We have the
I didn't mean
strangest,
to interrupt you
wait a
there,
minute,
Tom.
wait a minute.
Sorry.
Jeff?
we have the strangest organization in Connecticut that at presently you're not allowed to put anything up on a wall advertising.
What, any advertising? I mean, political advertising.
Yeah, personal stuff. If I want to say I want Trump, whatever, and I stick it on
It's not allowed.
front of my door. Not allowed to do that until I think it's 10 days from now.
And then
before
you can do it?
Start doing that.
None of that makes sense to me personally. You know.
No, it certainly doesn't. There's no time to argue.
Well, anyway, I got the theme playing here if you can hear it. Hey, listen, nice little Wednesday night. Hopefully I'm not going to do PT tomorrow, so I'll be a little more lucid. But we'll see. I don't know if it's working. I can't tell whether it's working or not. But I hope it does. I hope it does. Hey, listen, thank you a lot for being with us, Alan, as always. And Charlie, thanks to you as well. The two of you can now go over and deal with Amy Manuel. She will be able to go on tonight because our place where we run the audio is working. So, and anyway, thank you, Josh. Hopefully we'll see you again tomorrow night, right? Tom, always a good day when you're here. Jeff Stein, always love seeing you. We got to reschedule for lunch. Kevin, thank you. Okay, and thank you for your service as well. And thanks for calling us tonight, Bree. We really appreciate it. Everybody give a big wave goodbye, and I'll give a big wave goodbye at you, okay? And we will go like that, okay? There we go. And I am saying goodbye to them. Listen, we got Amy next. She's here with The Intersection. And then right after that, we have a whole bunch of programming. We'll replay all our programs, and then we'll be back again with you tomorrow night. Same time, same station in life. In the meantime, as always, if you see her, tell her I love her, okay? Bye-bye, everybody. Have a nice night.